Okay.
We came up to Canada and settled in Drumheller in 1950, and we were American kids, and we were behind already in the hockey pool. Everybody else was on skates and playing hockey, and Mark and I just didn't quite fit because we hadn't tried it yet. And so um, my dad brought from his trips into Portland and the States a football, and we glommed onto that as our sport. And he taught us how to throw it, of course, and he got the football games on the radio, and he taught us the rules and how to follow that game actually on radio
Wow.
before we even saw a game. And so we had a head start, we had an advantage with the other boys when it came to football.
Uh-huh.
And in the fall, we'd get the football out and we'd play. And sometimes we played in high school. I remember all winter long, whenever we could get anybody to go outside and throw the football, we'd have
Right.
a little scrimmage in the schoolyard. But the uh, the football bug really got into me when I went down to Portland to visit my relatives, Dad taking the family, and we went to Corvallis, where Valoris, his dad's other sister, lived, and Valoris's family lived in that college town where the Oregon Ducks played.
Oh.
I think that was their mascot name, the Ducks. But anyways, the college team was practicing one day when we went. I don't know why. Maybe Dad wanted to show us, and we were able to stand on the sidelines and watch a scrimmage of the Oregon football team playing. And I just could not believe how accurate they could throw that ball, how fast they could run and catch on the dead run, and how hard they would hammer each other. And I was hooked for life on football. And I've just had such an attraction to that game for so long. Until, of course, the professional boys in the States have really ruined it now with all their political and social agenda that they want to push into the sport. But college ball is still very entertaining down there, and they have so many teams and so well coached, and the sport is excellent. But the other thing that Mark and I developed when we were up in the Peace River district after Drumheller was that we were able to have a little job stoking fires at the public school, which was just 200 yards from our house. And they hired us to keep the fires going in that school in the winter. And they would pay us cash money. And we had never seen real money. So we started saving our money for a .22 rifle. And then Mark and I shared that gun, and we just tramped the bush. And one of the reasons I got behind in high school was I spent all my time hunting this winter, summer, spring, and fall, just as a kid, carefree, poking through the woods and enjoying that. We even had a trap line for a little while.
Wow.
And learned to skin animals and so on up in the Peace River district, in those days.
You didn't catch any bunnies, did you?
Probably did a few.
Oh, dear.
Sorry. Snares were what they used.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
outlawed now, but they you would catch different things in them, mainly squirrels and weasels was what we were
Right.
after, so we could skin them for the hide.
Well, that's okay.
But the interest that we had as boys in some of these things um, were unique in growing up in so many different places, moving around as a pastor's son. My dad and mom wanted to go to the mission field at one time. They applied when they were in the States and before they came to Canada. But the mission board turned them down because of a doctrinal belief, again, about the rapture of the church. And so they were declined. But Dad began to see, I think, at that point that some of the leadership, some of the elite um, leadership in denominations was questionable. And it got him to be a little more skeptical, a little bit more discerning, and he would challenge leadership. He would ask them pointed questions. He would ask them a hard question. Where do you find this in the Bible? Why do you think that you've come to this conclusion when such and such? And he would reason with them and debate with them, in fact. And I think I picked that up early. I think I learned to question some of that and have been a little more skeptical. I wanted to stay away from the big political arena of large churches and denominations and serve much like he did in some smaller places where you were a little bit more needed, you were a little bit more appreciated, and you didn't have to have this charisma and create a following where there wasn't much substance, but there was a lot of razzle dazzle kind of thing, and so we've had chances to really challenge the issues in churches where we've pastored, and but in that, God led us to some very unique opportunities of starting a Christian school, which was totally unorthodox in Canada at the time. And we battled the government, we battled denominations, churches, boards, even our own boards. And then, of course, when the camp ministry came along in southern Alberta, there was a real debate about having a camp in the Bald Prairies out in southern Alberta. And many wanted to go to the lakes. Many of them wanted to go to the mountains. And that was real camping. But we had seen what could be done with a year-round lodge camp facility ministry, where you ministered to kids in the summer, and that was integral to your ministry. But you could then run conferences and retreats all year long. You could even make it financially feasible by hosting weddings and family reunions and different things like that. So we encouraged the champion churches and those that were involved with them when this property became available, and we pushed for this full year-round lodge camping idea, full-time staff. Unheard of, and in a most unlikely place on some land that was donated right out in the Bald Prairies. There was nothing but cactus and sage, and yet we knew with water in that reservoir we could irrigate the hillsides and make it a park.
Right.
And so that's where Southern Alberta Bible Camp originated, as far as the final facility here just out of Lomond and Champion on Traverse Lake.
Right.